In this short and simple tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up MS SQL Server on your MacBook and also have a GUI to work with. So to show you that this is not a joke, you can see this is right here on my MacBook, and this is MS SQL Server running on my MacBook. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to uninstall everything completely, and let's start from the scratch. And before I continue, please remember to subscribe by slamming that subscribe button below. The red subscribe button, please click on it to subscribe, and also leave me a comment to let me know if this has been informative for you. So let's dive right in, but first let me uninstall everything and let's start from the scratch. So step one, just go to Google and download and install Docker on your system. So I'm going to say Docker download, and it comes out and you have to click on Docker for Mac or Windows. Now there are two of them, Mac with Intel chip, Mac with Apple chip. Simply go to the start menu or the Apple logo and click on this Mac, and you can see that it gives us the processor is Intel Core 9. So you download Mac with Intel chip in case you are using Mac with Intel chip, and you can see right here it downloads completely. Now if it downloads, click on it and get it installed right there in your Mac. So once you click on it, it begins the installation. But for me, I will cancel out the installation because I've already installed Docker on my system, but the installation is quite straightforward. Please pause this video, make sure you install Docker and start Docker. So once you install Docker, you can have Docker installed on your system and simply search for it, Docker, and you can see it right here. Simply click on it to start Docker. Alright, so once you start Docker, you can have the Docker GUI here, or the Docker dashboard here. And you can see here you have images, and you can see I have a few images, but for you it might be just empty. Alright, so we have Docker installed on our system right now. So the next thing you want to do now is to open Terminal. So I'm going to go to Terminal. So I'm going to run the command to download the image of MS SQL Server. So I'm going to simply paste the code to download the MS SQL Server image. So this is the code. It says sudo docker pull mcr.microsoft.com/MSSQL Server 2019 latest. Alright, so I'm going to enter my password so that it can download the MS SQL image and install it on my system. Okay, so now the Docker image has been pulled, into Docker. So if I go here, I think I should see the image right here, and you can see it. Something I forget to mention: MS SQL Server needs a bit of more memory. So if you click on here and go to resources and make sure that the memory is about 4 GB. Right? It could also be 3 or 2, but it's better you have it, let's say, at 4 GB. Alright, so we have set up the Docker image for MS SQL Server. Now we are going to run the container, okay? So to run the container, we are going to use Docker run, and we are going to specify the username, the password, and the image we want to run. I'm going to paste the command here. Basically, check the description box of this video. You'll see this line of code, and you are going to simply paste it right there. Okay, so let me just shift it so you can see the line of code I pasted right here, or the command I pasted. You can see the password, SA password. You can see the password, and we can see the port exposed, internal and external, and you can see the image that we are running right here. So it's quite simple, but if you want, just copy from the description box of this video. You can see where you can easily see this command. Alright, now we've installed Docker. We've also downloaded the image of MS SQL Server, and we've also started the container using Docker run. And at this point, I'm going to just go back to Docker dashboard, and let's just check that the container is running. So if I go to Docker dashboard right here, so the dashboard opens up, and you can see it is running right here. You can see the container Remember, an image is different from a container. A container is a running image. So basically, our SQL Server is running right now. Alright, so how do we know? Because we can see it's running, but you can actually just say docker ps, and you can see the container is running right here. The next thing we want to do is to install the SQL CLI. So I'm going to say npm install -g SQL CLI, and it's going to install SQL CLI globally. If it asks you for password or something like permission denied error, then you have to use sudo. So let me say sudo npm install. So I'm going to say sudo. And at this point, it's going to install perfectly well. All right, so the next thing we want to do is to connect to our server. Basically, we want to start the server and run it. So I'm going to use this password because if I start the server, it's going to ask me for password. So I'm going to start the server by saying MS, let me see, MSSQL SA, that's a user, sorry, -u SA -p, and this is my password. And I'm going to hit the enter key, and it starts SQL Server on my Mac. All right, so to check that it started, I'm going to simply say select @version, and you can see that it works. All right, so the next thing we want to do is to install the GUI, because now we've installed the service, but we also need the GUI. Now the GUI we are going to use is called Azure Data Studio for Mac. So I'm going to go back to to Chrome, and I'm going to download Azure Data Studio for Mac. So let me just say google.com, Azure Data Studio downloads, yeah, here. Okay, so we have Azure Data Studio right here. Is Mac OS here. You can see the zip file. Simply download it. Click on it to download, and you can see it downloads successfully. I'm going to simply open this, and it opens in my download folder. I'm going to just show you. You can see my download folder, Azure Data Studio. I downloaded it one more time. So I'm going to unzip, and then it gives me Azure Data Studio right here. I'm going to simply double click on it. And that is it. We have our Azure Data Studio. Actually, Azure Data Studio is more or less like our management studio, okay? Now, where do we go from here? How do we create a new database and stuff like that? Well, we can create a database by clicking on this place, and you can see localhost, it has master SA. When we click on it, it takes us to this connection here, and simply enter the password. Remember the password that we use when we set up, let me just go back to my terminal. This password we use right here, so you can use it as well, okay? So everything can just be default, and just click on connect. So once you click on connect, it connects and show you the databases, okay? So the next thing you want to do now is to click on new query. Once you click on new query, you can now write your query, okay? So let's go create our database, okay? We can create a database, but we have to write a query to do that. So let me just go online and find a query that can help us create our database. So I'm going to google.com, and I'm going to say BikeStores Sample Databaase. All right, so let's click on this place. It says load sample database, and you can see this link here says download SQL Server Sample Database. So click on it, and it downloads here. So I'm going to open it in my Finder, and this is it. So I'm going to just right click, and this is it. So we have a number of things. So we have the first one says create object as SQL. So I'm going to right click and open with, you can actually open with anything. I don't know what you have on your system. I want to use something that I'm sure you have. So if I go to other, maybe I can just use, maybe text editor should be somewhere. Yeah, text edit, so that it can be something I'm sure you have. All right, so this is the sample database down here. So I'm going to simply copy everything here, copy, and I'm going to go back to our GUI here and just click on localhost and choose new query. And the new query, I'm simply going to paste what we copied, all right? So once I paste it, you can see it says create a schema. Well, before we create the schema, we need to create a database. So I'm going to say create database. The name of the database is BikeStores, and I'm going to say go, and I'm going to say use BikeStores, and I'm going to say go as well. Yeah, so this is exactly what you should do, and now I'm going to fire up this query by clicking on this run button right here. So let me click on it, and it says command started, command executed, command started, command executed. So if I go back to database, if I right click on the database and refresh, you can see we have our BikeStores database, we have all the tables here. If I select, let's say right click and select 1000 rows, and it is empty. All right, so let's go copy the code to actually create these queries. So I'm going back to my Finder here, and the second one that says load data, I'm going to just say open with. I'm going to also use text edit because that is something I'm sure everyone has. So I'm going to use text edit and say open, and it opens up right here. And I'm going to simply copy everything, right click and copy everything. And let's go back to our GUI, which is here. And I'm going to right click on BikeStores and say new query. And I'm going to paste everything right here and run. So once it runs this query, it's going to load up this database with data. So I'm going to maximize the window right now. So if I come back here, refresh, and maybe I go to tables and go to products and right click and say select 1000 rows, you can see our database is selected right here. And if I go to, let's say others, I select others, select 1000 rows, you can see also we have some data right here. So this is exactly how to set up MS SQL Server and also the GUI equivalent to Management Studio on your Mac. I'm going to be stopping here. If you have any more challenges, please do let me know in the comment box below. Everything you need for this tutorial is in the description box. All the steps to follow are laid out there step by step for you in the description. And I'm going to stop here. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. Also like the video and share it around if it has been informative for you. I remain Kindson the Tech Pro, and I'm always there for you.